All right, welcome back to Backyard Barbecue Everything. And I get this request more common than others. I get a lot of requests for ribs, meatloaf, different smoked meats, and one of the other common things I get a request for is grilling stuff. So there's things that I do as far as chicken, burgers, on high heat, on low heat, everything that involves grilling. So today we're going to go over a style of grilling that I kind of put together. It's not grilling directly over a high heat. With a charcoal grill, it's very hard sometimes to maintain your temperature besides using your upper and lower flutes. So I'm going to set this grill up and show you how to set up a indirect style grilling method that we're going to use for boneless, skinless chicken breasts today. I've got 6 pounds of it, and I've got my son on the camcorder, so Aiden, come on over here. We're going to open up this grill. I want to show you how we're going to set this up. So we've got a 22-inch Master Touch Weber kettle, and the way we're going to take care of this today, instead of your traditional method where we light charcoal and put it throughout the whole entire bottom of the grate, we're going to kind of set this up similar to a slow and sear. So I don't have a slow and sear because it tends to be somewhat of a gimmick. Shout out to Meat Cranium, who answered some of my questions. I greatly appreciate it. And back to him, he's the one that kind of did all the tests and answers onto the slow and sear. So this is why I came up with my method here. If you want to come back over here, I'll show you. Today what I'm using is B&B charcoal. Aiden, take a look. This is B&B charcoal, but these are competition style char logs. These are great for low and slows, but they also produce a ton of BTUs, and they're a fantastic product. This is what they look like. So you can see they have a hole in the middle. It looks almost like a briquette, but instead of it being a briquette, what they do is they take the traditional lump charcoal that they make and they compress it without making it a briquette into this char log. So it's a competition style log that is made from lump rather than a briquette. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to do a chimney of it. In order to get a medium style heat, I'm going to set this up. If you want to come over here and look, these are fire bricks. What I'm doing is I'm creating that chamber. So over here is going to be where our heat source is, and over here is going to be the non-heat source. So we're setting it up for indirect cooking, but all the briquettes in here are going to be lit, so it's not a minion style method. What we're going to be doing is controlling the temperature somewhere between 300 and 400 degrees on this side without a direct flame. So what it's going to do is it'll give All right, we are back. Right now we're going to get the chimney lit. We're going to get it nice and hot so this way we can get it set up for what we're doing here. Today what we're going to be using is the, I don't know if you guys have seen these or used them, but these are the paraffin wax cubes that Weber makes. These are a fire starter, which we are going to put in this hole here. This is the Barbecue Dragon Chimney of Insanity. It allows for a rapid start of fire, which over there, that's the Barbecue Dragon attachment. It'll get these coals nice and lit relatively quick. So all I'm going to do, we're going to fill up this chimney with these char logs. With them being a little bit bigger in size, you might have to cut some. You might have to get fancy with how you put them in there. You might have to, rearrange them a certain way. But all we're going to be doing is, getting as many of these in here that we possibly can in this chimney. And they come in different sizes, as you can see. I did a testing on these once. Kingsford charcoal went for about an hour and a half at around 500, 600 degrees, somewhere in that range. These I got almost 4 hours out of when I was grilling once. So you get a lot of life out of these. So as you can see, if you want to look, we have pretty much a full chimney at this point, and we're keeping them up. All we're going to do now is we're going to stick this wax cube inside here as a fire starter. And then I always use a torch, makes things a lot easier. We're going to get the fire starter lit with the torch. those of you that are unaware of B&B charcoal, it's 100% locally sourced. It burns hotter, longer, and cleaner. As you can see here, with my chimney, just the little bit that it's lighting off here, we're not producing much smoke. It's relatively clean. And what I'm going to do to get this started is we're going to use my barbecue dragon on top of it. It's battery operated. It's basically a fan that will introduce air into this L-shaped chimney, which will create almost like a rocket stove-like effect. So with this, you just attach it to your grill. You go ahead and slide it in here, and you turn the little fan on. And you're going to start to hear it. The more you turn the knob, the faster it gets. And then in between there, sometimes that will go out. So what I'm going to do is run it at a very low temperature. Not temperature, but a low setting for the fan. So this way I can get it to light a little bit easier. So what I'll do, I'm not going to bore you with getting the chimney lit here. I'll come back to you when all of this is going and we're getting ready to grill and get the chicken on. So I'll see you here in a little bit. All right, guys, I'm back, as you can see here. One thing I did want to point out, after a couple of minutes, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see a little bit of the flake and stuff blowing out of where the chimney is. But I want to just go over the fact that you can clearly see there's hardly any smoke coming out of this chimney. And I just turned up the fan a notch. I did add a little newspaper under there to assist it, the wax cube there. So that is some of the stuff you're seeing blow out of there. But I did want to show you that this B&B charcoal, all the reviews you see are legit. We're not getting a lot of smoke at all. So I just wanted to point this out to you guys, and that way you can see it. We do got a nice little fire going at the bottom, and once this is done, I'll be back to show you. Guys, one thing I want to point out, you can see the flame passing by, and you'll notice right here, and here, and a little bit here, as these char logs light up, they do white over and ash-like, so it works just like any lump or any briquette. Did want to point that out there so you can see it. We're only about a minute and a half in, and if I do cut the fan off, you can see we got some flame popping up. So there is, within 2 minutes, these char logs getting lit with the barbecue dragon and the chimney of insanity. So I just want to point this out, that they do take a little bit longer to light, but once they get glowing, man, these things are awesome. So no more talking about charcoal. This is about indirect grilling of chicken breast. So when I get to the point, I'll be back putting them on the grill here. Getting ready to put this on the grill, but I wanted to show you guys, look. The average lifespan of a Weber cube is about 6 to 8 minutes. So as you can see, it's still going on. And come over here, Aiden, there with the camera, and look. Can you see the flames in there?
Sure can.
All right, so you can see we got some flame action going up here, which means it's worked its way to the top. And we've got most of those char logs have the white on them, but we do have some black, which is not a problem. Right now, we got to get the grill up to temp anyways, so we're going to give it 10-15 minutes before we want to put the chicken on anyways. Come on over here. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to set it up similar to an indirect style cook, but it is going to be at a higher temperature because we're using a fully lit chamber of charcoal briquettes. Well, in this instance, char logs. So all we're going to do here, we're going to take our little log, and we're just going to take our char logs and we're going to pour the chimney out. Now they work a little different, as you can see, because they're bigger. I'm just looking for a set of tongs. Bear with me. Over there. Over here. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get these char logs situated around, just kind of like any other charcoal, lump, briquette, anything, doesn't matter. Sometimes the fire brick will fall on you just like it did there. So you'll have to move it. And Aiden, come on over here so people can see. So as you can see, all I'm doing with these char logs is I'm just kind of putting them on this side here. But as you can see, most of them whiten over and we're getting ready to go. What this is going to do is it's going to give us a section of the grill that we can sear and put high heat over here. And because the temperature of this is going to be so high traveling over here, it's going to create a medium to medium high heat over here, but with no chars, or char zone or heat zone or whatever you want to call it. So this way the chicken will cook without flaring up and those sorts of things. So I almost forgot to mention that we are going to be using a little bit of wood today. Before the chicken goes on, we're going to be using a very, well, not very small, but a small size of apple chunk. And this one is cherry. So these are going to be 2 fruit woods. They're going to give us a little bit of flavor while we're grilling, which is not going to be much. I don't suspect these to be on any more than an hour on this indirect side. And then also when we're searing, if you want to show here, I got 2 more chunks. I got 1 more chunk of apple and 1 more chunk of cherry. I'll use this to get flame, so this way I can get a nice sear mark on the chicken. So that's how we're setting up the grill for today. I'm not really too concerned with temperature. All I'm concerned with is creating a hot zone and a no flame zone. So once I get ready to put the chicken back on, we'll be ready to go, and I'll see you then. Everybody, we got the grill set up. It's getting warmed up. Right now I've got 6 pounds of the boneless, skinless chicken breasts that we're going to be putting on the indirect side to give it a little bit of smoke flavor and a little bit of that indirect cooking before we get ready to sear it. So what I've done is I've taken some chicken breasts that have been de-skinned, deboned, fat taken off, whatever have you. I've cleaned them up a little bit and I've thawed them out. This is 6 pounds and there are 12 different fillets. So on average, these are going to weigh about a half a pound of fillet, 8 ounces, give or take. And when we cut them down, they're going to be around the 5 to 6 ounce mark after cooking. So we got to go ahead and season them. So what I have here, this is not a rub you can buy, but the way that I'm going to do this is chicken is one of those meats or poultries that is a little bit on the bland side, so we kind of have to add some flavor to it. So for this, I'm going to use my Ultimate Purpose Magic Rub. This is basically just an AP seasoning. Malcolm Reed over at How to Barbecue Right, and then also Cosmos Q has a very, very, very good all-purpose seasoning, but for me, I like to use mine. Use whichever one you like. This kind of contains those savory notes. You got your salt, your pepper, your garlic, onion, those things. So what we're going to do with that is we're just going to apply a somewhat lighter coat, and we want to get this over the chicken breast fillets. You don't have to worry about going super heavy on them. The chicken themselves will absorb most of this when it sits, because after we season this, we're going to give it 10-15 minutes just to kind of work itself in. Really not much you can do except just season it on those sides there. The next thing we've got, this is my Ultimate Barbecue Rub. This is going to have your traditional paprikas, your brown sugars for a little bit of sweetness. You do have some peppers in there, so you got chili peppers, red peppers, cayenne peppers. It's not super, super, super hot. It does have a little bit of heat to it, but this is where you're going to get those barbecue notes, those flavorful, sugary, sweetness notes to it. It also produces a great color. This is my Ultimate Barbecue Rub, like I said. Killer Hogs makes the best one, in my opinion, out of all the other ones I've used, but I've targeted towards mine. I like to tweak it to whatever my liking is, but by all means, use whichever one you want. So we're just going to apply a little bit of a medium coat to this one. I like to get the chicken covered, as you can see. I want to produce some nice color on this chicken. Chicken tends to not really do a whole lot when you're smoking it or grilling it color-wise. So this rub here has a tendency to do color-wise what your actual grill can't. So like I said, just a medium coat of this over the chicken. And with that said, I got to flip it over and do the other side. I'm going to wait about 5 minutes till I do the other side and then give it 10 to 15 minutes to sit. I'm not going to bore you with that. So I'll take care of this and then we'll get it back on the grill and then I'll see you shortly. Perfect. All right, we're back. Chicken's been sitting about 10 minutes. Come on over here and I want to show you something. So on this piece here, and I'll actually take the camera, I'm going to zoom in on it. I want you to see how on this piece here, it's starting to get wet. Some of it right in here is still dry, but a lot of this chicken here is wet. What that means is the first 10 to 15 minutes that you season this chicken, especially with the all-purpose and the barbecue rub that I've got, with them having salt in it, the salt is going to hit the meat. It's going to take whatever moisture is in the meat and it is going to draw it to the surface. And then the meat or the poultry's natural reaction is to take that moisture at the surface and pull it back in. And what it's doing is it's pulling in the flavors of this rub in with it. So we are going to take this and we are going to put them on the grill and I'm going to show you what we're doing with it. Also too, I want to point out we are running right about where I thought we were. We are open vents right around 380 degrees, which was between the 3 and the 400 that I wanted to be. And on the hot coal side, we're right around 520. So by doing this in this style setup, it's given us a much lower temperature, less chance of flare up, and a better opportunity to get a thoroughly cooked piece of meat or poultry like we're doing. So we're going to get these on the grill, and then we'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, we are back. I'm just kind of moving this chicken around to make sure that it's positioned where I want it to be, and so forth. So as you can see, like I explained before, we're going to do it on the indirect side. It is going to be at a higher heat than smoking, but it is going to be a low enough temperature to where it won't flare and flame up and burn it. So what I'm doing here is, on this Weber, it's beautiful. You can open up these grates and you can get, searing it. I know I'm searing, it's going to. You can get wood inside here. So what I'm going to do with the ashed over, fully ready to go briquettes or char logs, I'm going to place that, like I was showing you, the cherry and apple wood chunks in there. And I'm just going to reposition my fire log, or not fire logs, fire brick. In here, as you can see, what I'm trying to do is get those chunks of wood lit. Lighting the chunk of wood and making sure that it's burning a fire with the wood is going to give you a clean fire. Also, when you get the wood burning itself, the byproduct of that wood burning is going to produce smoke, which is why we're going to be placing the damper fully open over here because we're grilling. Open, and the bottom damper is going to be open. It's going to allow it to maintain that high heat temperature. The chunks are actually going to stay on fire, and their byproduct is going to be smoke being produced. So I don't know if you can see it here, but we do have just a little bit of smoke going through. That's going to be another YouTube video as far as fire management, color of the smoke, and everything else. We don't want to get a white smoke. We don't want to get a black smoke. A good clean smoke is that bluish to clearish smoke that you're getting, which with it being ignited, we're getting that now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on this. When it gets to about 145 to 155 degrees, that's when I'm going to take the chicken and going to start searing it and getting that nice sear color on it, so this way we don't overcook it, and the final temperature should be about 160 degrees, which is perfect for chicken breasts, and we're going to have a nice color going with it. So I'll catch you back when we're at 150 degrees. All right, guys, so it's been a couple minutes. Just wanted to let you know that the color of the smoke has died down, if any of you are curious. It's hard to see on camera, but anytime your fire is choked down, it's going to give you a bad color smoke. You need airflow, oxygen, and fire burning to create a nice fire that you should be having when you're smoking, barbecuing, grilling, or doing anything of that nature. So right now, as you can see, we do have some smoke passing, and it is on the blue side. So once we reach 150 degrees, we'll be back. All right, guys, we are back. I do want to point out we're running 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been about 5-10 minutes tops, and we're running somewhere around 475. So, with that being said, the vent's wide open here on both bottom and top. Once you add food or something to your chamber, it is going to run at a lower temperature. And the reason for that is because the ambient temperature around it is going to be lower due to the temperature of the food. So, wanted to point that out and let it know to you. We'll be back when we reach 150 degrees. Thanks. All right, guys, so we've been cooking for about 20 minutes. I did want to show you over here that we do have the chunks of apple and cherry right there. They've been ignited and burning just like that. It looks closer to that piece than it really is, and it's not. So just showing you that about 20 minutes in, I flipped them. I have temped them. We're around 110 degrees. Just letting you know, I'm thinking 45 minutes. We should be ready to put them on the fireside right there and get a nice sear on them to finish them off somewhere between 155 and 165. So we'll be back and give you an update. But as you can see, some of them have good color, some do not. Some are thicker than others. That's the other reason why this is so hard sometimes with chicken. But we're going to do the best we can as far as, you know, taking them off at the right time, temping them, and searing them when need to. So we'll be back when we're at 150 ready to sear. Thank you. Are you recording? Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Welcome back to Backyard Barbecue Everything. Right here, you can see on the ThermoWorks ThermaPen, we're reading 150 degrees internal on the chicken breast. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this off, or any one of them, it really doesn't matter at this point. I probed a really big one over here, as you can see, just to make sure that we're within temperature range. And I'm going to start searing. We've been on for about 40 minutes, so it's 5 minutes less than expected. I'm going to sear these, get a color on them, and I'm going to pull them off when they reach 160 degrees-ish. I did add a couple of other pieces of wood just now to get them going, and once you put them on over this side, you can hear the sizzle. The reason we set it up for this is so this way we can get even cooking on this side. We're going to sear them off and get some nice char color on this side. And when they're done, we're going to pull them off. We're going to show you the final product. We're going to taste test, and we're going to let you know what we think about them. So we'll be back after we're done searing these and getting them to 160. All right, everybody. After reaching 150 degrees, we seared these. As you can see, some had more sear marks than others based on how thick or thin they were. This is the end result. And as you can see, we've got some nice grill marks. And again, some more than others. But I've temped them till they were 160 degrees. We have two that are left on that grill right there. Those are going to be the two that my son and I eat, so we show you the final product. But I wanted to show you that after searing it, this is the end result that we have. And this is why we do this indirect for direct heat, running around 350 to 375-ish. So we're not burning the entire cook, but we sear at the end to get that color that we want. So we'll be back with the final taste test and show you the verdict, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Welcome back, guys. And I don't know if you can see, it's been sitting for about 8 minutes now. There's juices we got off of it. I temped it with my ThermoWorks, but I also cut into the middle of it just to double check. Chicken's one of those things, even if the ThermoWorks Thermopin or any thermometer that you have, don't go just off of the ThermoWorks, gives you a temp. I always like to double check chicken breasts for whatever reason, and that's where you can see right here this cut that I put in. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to cut off a couple pieces here, and you can see while it was resting for that 8 minutes, we have some juices coming through it, and through here, letting it rest and reabsorb all those juices. We got back to 150 degrees. We put it on the heat side so that way we can get the char on it. I'm going to have Aiden take the first bite. We're letting all the flavors work into it. And how is it?
That's great.
Got one more bite off here. Come on over so this way we can show the inside. You know, 160 degrees with chicken breasts is fair. You could even do 155, but you can see the juices dripping and running off of it.
Jeez.
And I don't care that it's running off. I'm just here to show you guys that, you know, letting it rest for that 5 to 10 minutes is very, very, very important. But this is what we have with our internal.
So good.
We have the juices running through it. You can hear me biting on it. We have the flavor of all those other spices and everything else going to it. You can eat that if you want. This is how I like to grill chicken. I like to get that even cook on an indirect heat, but medium to high, somewhere in that 350 to 400 range, by setting it up this style. And then at the very end, I like to give it that char and that grill mark. Right there, by doing it this way, you get the nice internal, you know, texture and feel for chicken, but you're getting that barbecue essence of all the flavors that we put on the outside. You're getting a taste of that wood from the chunks that we added to it. You get the smokiness, but you're also getting that traditional style barbecue from the searing at the very end of it. And I just wanted to show you guys how I like to do my chicken the best way possible. If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe and the bell button below. This is Backyard Barbecue Everything, where anything and everything that we can barbecue, we do it in our backyard. I'll see you on the next video. All right, guys. One last video before I call it quits. I started at 5:45 lighting the grill. As you can see, the time is 8:39, and it took me about a minute to walk out here. So we are looking at close to 3 hours. And right now, I moved it dead center, so you can see we are about 325 degrees here, and 330 30 or so over here. So we're pretty accurate on both ends of the spectrum here, considering the coals are still over here. Now, I want to show you that at 5:45 I started these. It's 8:42-ish, and we still have coals. And we have a good chunk of coals. The fire bricks, just so you know, they did fall over. But as of right now, we still have coals. And we're going on 2 hours and 45 minutes now after they've been lit and set in the grill. 2 hours and 45 minutes later, you can see we have, I zoomed in for you so you can see it. We still have chunks of the briquettes, or char logs, whatever you want to call them. Chunks of the char log left. And 2 hours and 45 minutes on the grill. You can see through the flue there on the top, we have embers. And we're still sitting 250 degrees after taking the lid off and putting it back on. So, I just want you guys to know that B&B competition char logs are definitely worth it. And right now in my garage, it's currently about 40 degrees. So for it to hold its temperature 2 hours and 45 minutes later and run around 325 to 350-ish after that time frame with that much charcoal lit in the grill, it's a game changer. The chicken that we had for dinner was excellent. It was juicy, it was tender, it had flavor, it had char to it. As you can see throughout the whole cook, that's the way that I would do my chicken all the time, every time if I wanted to grill it. The only time I would ever really put a bed of charcoal down flat even is if I'm doing hamburgers or I'm doing hot and fast, chicken breasts that are 100% fresh. They don't have any seasoning on it. We're just trying to cook it within 30 minutes flat. Other than that, I don't really put charcoal out on my grill like that. So I'm just giving you a quick, tutorial how I run it as a grilled setup over indirect heat. And, I apologize to any of you that subscribed, and it's been a while. It's been a few weeks, if not almost close to a month, since the last video that I posted. I've been very busy. My son's been into football. There's been a lot going on. I haven't been home lately. I've been working a lot. I drive a truck locally, but for the most part, I'm home at night. And for all, those of you that are excited about the channel or want to see more content, I apologize that I am not as active as some should be. I'm going to do better about doing that. So throughout the summer, I want to create some amazing cooks, different recipes. If you have anything that you want me to cook, please comment down below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so this way, any of my new content can go up, and we'll go from there. This is Backyard Barbecue Everything. I'm doing everything as easy and cheap and economical as possible. I do have some cookers that can range a little bit more in price range, but for the most part, we're going to do this on an affordable setup till we have a way of doing more cooks on more expensive setups. It's going to be catered towards your backyard barbecue. But there are going to be some things we're going to do that could be targeted towards comps, cook-offs, and everything else. So whatever we can do to help you and everybody else around us is what we're going to do. So Until next time, this is Backyard Barbecue Everything, where everything that can be done in your backyard will be barbecued. So we'll see you on the next cook.